Alright, we're back with a second video on applying materials, and I think I might go ahead and even create a material in here just to give you an idea how that's done. Here's the last rendering we have. It looks like the next thing I want to do is put glass in the windows. So what I'm going to do is open my materials, or rather drag them onto the screen so you can see them. I'm going to go ahead and sort everything and find a glass material. So I actually have a glass material already made, a procedural material. If I double click it, it shows me it's reflecting 100% glossiness, Fresnel reflections, whatever that is. It's also reflecting whatever. So what I'm going to do is go into my select by name and start typing star glass. Since those glass are in individual blocks, they pop up multiple times rather than just once as a layer, since they're in the blocks. So while those things are selected, close my preview. I'm going to go ahead and do an isolate. Yep, it's all my glass. So I'm going to say apply to selection. Now I've got glass in the windows. Let's see, I've got these little lights above my garage doors. I'm going to make those, here, let's do my biggest surface first. There's my metal roof. I'm going to make that metal. So I'm going to open my materials. Let's go ahead and neaten this up. And I have a metal roof material in here, which again, this is the color going into it. We can go ahead and change it, make it a bright red roof or something crazy. And I'm going to, since I have that roof, I'm just going to drag it on, give this red roof just for fun. Again, I like to once in a while sort everything, open and close the nodes and sort them again, just to get everything as compact as can be. Let's work down here. I've got this black light. I could give it the same black trim color as the gutter, but I think I'm going to give it a more metally looking color. So I'm going to open my settings, and I've actually got a metals multi-material here. Again, I'm going to select the children, hide the nodes, and lay out the children. So in this material I have 4 different common metals I might use. I'm going to go ahead with the black metal and drag it onto one of my lights. Now since they're a block, they both get that material. Great. I also know I want a silver doorknob on this door, so I'm going to drag that there. And I probably want a trim color on that door, so let's give it, I don't know, another color. So I've got a white and black. Let's say I want to make that door blue. Make this a patriotic looking house. I'm going to select this material along with its children and drag and hold shift. And select all these, hold shift, and drag them down, which is going to make a unique material. And since I selected them all, it's going to give me a unique color. So what I'm going to do is go into this color and change it to blue. There, maybe we want to darken it up, move it more towards the green, which makes it a little more like the flag. And maybe I'll just name this blue real quick and actually drag it into my multi-material. That way when I sort everything, it's sort of grouping all my trim colors together. And I can drag that thing right onto the door. Now again, it's displaying as white because the color in the material, if I click this, is actually white. So what I'm going to do, but the the diffuse map is overriding the basic diffuse color of the material. So I'm going to double click this guy and say show on blue. And now it changed my front door to be blue, which is helpful to see what you're doing. Garage doors, let's just give this a maybe with the same blue. We'll a little crazy, but for now that's what we can do. Looks like I have some handles and things on there. I'm going to go ahead and eyedropper my lights to give them the same metal, and I can drag this onto, whoops, got the door, Control Z, drag this onto that layer. Since they're all within the door block and on the same layer, they'll all get that material. I could probably use that black material on the railings. So I know this railing might have a couple blocks, so I'm actually going to go into Select by Name and select all three of those. Open my materials, and black metal is highlighted, so I'm going to say Assign to Selection. As I go down here, I have my stone below my porch, and I have a cap layer, which would be like your slate you walk on. So let's add that material. I have a slate material in here, which is again based off of an image of a few squares of slate. This crop is not in effect, so it's showing the whole thing. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that slate material onto the cap. I also know I want a stone below here, which I have a stone. So I'm going to drag that onto here. Now it's showing some stone. Again, I'm just going to neaten these guys up, sort everything out. Take a quick look. I'm actually going to move this quality down to low just so it renders a little quicker and see what we're missing as far as materials. And we can easily fix these colors later. I was just doing them silly for video's sake here. The other materials, looks like 2 or 3 more things. I've got a foundation material, which I know I have in my concrete block. I have a concrete foundation which has a bump map going into it, like your brick stamped concrete. So I'm going to say Assign to Selection, and I know that's on there. These would be like a corrugated metal, and I actually have these as blocks in the drawing, which are helpful because I can move them up and down uniquely. This is something I rarely do, but I did those on purpose to put them at the right levels. This is some sort of wood drainage box that this county requires to run gutters into. Now, I don't have my gutter going into it because I'm not getting that specific, but I'd like to give this a wood material. So that's a good chance to go ahead and create a new material that I don't have in my drawing yet, just to show that. So what I'm going to do is open my materials, and I'm going to go ahead and start a new material by right-clicking here, Materials, V-Ray, a V-Ray material. That is your base V-Ray material. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to preview that, but nothing's on it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and put this material on here. Now you can see it changed it to a different gray, which we know it's on that material. Now we want to make a wood material. Like it was pressure treated boards, 6x6s or something, creating this thing. So what I'm going to do is I have a folder here. This is my materials folder, and this has different categories of things that you're going to want to collect. In here I have a wood. I'm going to start with, I've created a seamless, if I preview this, there's kind of a seamless pattern that will tile well. I'm going to go ahead and pick another color, maybe a little bit lighter color for now, and drag it into my material. And again, this bitmap comes in. If I double click it, it defaults to a real world size of 1 inch by 1 inch. I happen to know, looking at this image, that that's in reality that's maybe a foot or two. I'm actually going to make it bigger. So I'm going to make it 4 feet by 4 feet. And then when I drag it into my material, you can see it's applied it to the object. And it's actually going the correct way since the thing was side to side. It's wrong on the top, but I'll never see it from the angle we're looking at, so I'm not really going to worry about it. I can always delete this UVW map give it a new one. I guess I am worrying about it. Call it a box, and then, you know, I could rotate it so it's correct on the long sides or whatever looks visually good. But I'm going to undo that. So we've got a map on here. What's going to happen, though, is it's just going to look like a solid board. I want it to look like 6-inch planks or whatever going up. So what I'm going to do is go into that material and make a composite map. So I'm going to go into Maps, General, Composite, and this will allow you to mix materials. So this is going to be layer 1. It doesn't display right, but that's okay. As I click this guy, I have one layer. I'm actually going to add a second layer. And I'm going to make this a darken layer. Now what I want to do is basically put a black line. This would I might have to backtrack here. What I'm going to do is artificially put like a seam in there, and it's just going to go into the diffuse map, which will make it black. I will also do a bump map, which will give it some texture. But first I'm going to do this, and you'll see why, hopefully. I'm going to make a new map, General. I'm going to use this gradient ramp. The gradient ramp is very flexible. What I'm going to do is double click into here and tell it I want a turn my gradient type to a my interpolation to solid. Now that gives me two colors, and this is going to give me a seam here. I'm going to tell the size of this map to be, let's say, 6 by 6. And I also want to change my rotation here 90 degrees, so it's running the same way as the wood. I also want to edit the properties and change my lighter color to a pure white, and my darker color is black, so that's good. So now, close that, and drag that into my second layer, which is hopefully going to add me some... Oh, I haven't put that into my diffuse map yet. So what I'm going to do is drag that into my diffuse map. And wonder why it didn't do anything. So I'm going to go into this composite map. My layer 2 is this. I have it as darken. Let's see. Let's look this closer. And you can see something's going on in there. You can see the little stripes this added. They're just not pronounced. Maybe if I change my gradient, keep having to grab things around and make it thicker, you can see them now. I'm going to keep it thin. Close this. And now what's cool is I can take this same gradient and drag it into my bump map. And you can see it. That added some depth to those seams. So now it sort of looks like boards. It's a little bad because you can see my wood grain is continuous between the boards when it should be different. So you could always find a different JPEG image or make one to give you the right look. But this is what I'm going to do for now. Now that material, I'm going to go ahead and call it wood. It's got no reflection or... looks like time's almost up. I'm going to go ahead and give it just a little bit of reflection. It's going to reflect this much light, and my glossiness wants to be about 0.6, which just added a little shininess to it. So that should just about do it for materials. The next one we'll do. We'll get into Forest Pro and start setting up the background and plants and trees and things. See you next time.